Yes,
All
I'm
right.
audible.
Yeah.
So, if you truly care about equality, how do you justify implementing UCC immediately when India still has over 1,200 tribal communities protected under schedules 5th and 6th of the Constitution, all of whom will follow distinct personal laws? Do you propose we strip their legal protections overnight?
Anushka.
Could you repeat your question?
Yeah, just a second. Am I audible? Yes, again.
And please go
Yeah.
a little
Possible,
slower.
just type it in the chat as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
please type it
I'll
in the
just
chat
do
box.
it. Just a sec.
Okay, Anushka. Question is up in the chat. And also, Rayansh, Niyati, and Jayant, you can also get your questions typed in so that we don't waste any more time. And Ranbir as well. Also, Ranveer, Anushka is in the favor of the motion and Pranad is against.
What the topic of debate is?
It is available in the WhatsApp group.
Or
So share the screen as well.
Okay, yeah, I'll go for it.
Yeah, please.
Okay, so I'm not saying for the immediate and blanket removal of protections for tribal communities. The UCC must be implemented, progressively and sensitively with full respect for constitutional safeguards under Schedules B and 6. However, we must distinguish between genuine cultural practices and injustice, hiding behind the shield of tradition, in the name of tradition, in the namesake of tradition. Where tribal customs uphold gender equality and justice, they deserve protection. They also require protection. But where they violate basic constitutional rights, especially of women and children, reform must follow. The UCC does not mean stripping away identity or, demolishing or putting down those laws by the cultural. It basically means ensuring no citizen is denied equally simply because of where they're born or what customs they follow or where they're from. Just as with other laws, special status can coexist with reform, definitely. The Constitution is not a barrier to equality. It's a bridge that we have to follow so that we all can be equal. Constitution is therefore made for us to be equal. So no, we don't strip protections overnight, but we also don't accept that inequality is acceptable simply because it's customary. Justice must be inclusive and eventually universal. It's every single's right, every person's right.
Okay. Anyone
Chair,
who wants to yield
follow up.
to follow up?
Yeah.
All right, Pranad.
Anushka, you clearly stated that uh, in your answer that UCC should not be implemented immediately. But according to the agenda, you were speaking that uniform code, civil code should be immediate across India immediately, right? How are you contradicting your own statement like this?
You just asked me that if you truly care about equality, how do you justify implementing UCC immediately while India still has over 1,200 tribal communities protected under Schedules B and number of 6? So I just said that for these tribal communities, it's not we are implementing that it has to be for the immediate and blanket removal, because for tribal communities that actually takes time for their minds to adjust and for that new mindset to develop. They don't know what is happening in the urban, what laws they're implementing, who are these people, who is this government. No, they're living in jungles, they're living in tribal, and therefore it is not necessary for that immediate removal. There has to be a progress. Yes, we can start it now, we can start it today, but that exactly does not mean that it's going to be immediate because of the tribal communities. They are so backward from us right now. Not much, but still they are backward. And therefore, even if we start today, it's still going to take us very much time. It's still going to take us years for implementing that law. So, yes, even if we start this with immediate, it's still gonna take us time. And even if we not start it immediately, even if we start it in a 1 or 2 years, but just basically giving them information, they can slowly adapt to these changes and these laws that are been forming around us. So yes.
All right, that's it for Pranad. And now Riansh.
If the goal is equality, how do you ensure that the UCC won't become a majoritarian law that forces one community practices onto another's in the name of uniformity?
Okay. So the UCC, it will be new, secular, and gender just code created to conciliation and rooted in constitutional values. I implement this by giving them equality, is just getting to know this, is just basically informing the people around us about this code and to providing them with this knowledge of this code and what are the reasons and what are the measures that we are supposed to make this code because of. So equality cannot be seen as majority, and it's universal. That's what I have to say. Or anything you want to repeat to it.
So a follow up.
Okay, Riansh, go ahead.
Can you give concrete examples of what a universal UCC would look like in practice, especially in issues where religious laws conflict, like inheritance, divorce, or polygamy?
In the examples
Of what a universal UCC would look like.
okay, based on what were the examples, like marriage and inheritance rights?
Yeah.
Okay. So if we talk about inheritance rights, if we look at it universally, when the UCC will be implied, all daughters, sons will be able to inherit equally regardless of religion or tribe. That's one way of equality. This ensures gender equality and protects, the women's financial rights across India, which is a right to equality also. In terms of marriage, this uniform minimum marriage age will be 18 for women and 24 for men will apply to all, and not, and there are some villages in India still not following this rule, so it will be applied uniformly everywhere. This will help in child marriage and ensure universal standards for adulthood and consent. If it talks about polygamy, then one law and one spouse for everyone. Monogamy would be a universal civil norm. Nobody can have, not a man can have 2 or 3 wives anymore. It's modern nature, and with this one law, it would be only one spouse for everyone. This promotes equality in marriage and protects women from unequal marital arrangements. So yeah, the UCC doesn't erase culture, it removes legal inequality.
Chair, another follow up.
I'm sorry, Riansh, we cannot entertain more follow-ups.
Okay, sir.
Okay, going ahead with Niyati.
Right. So you speak about implementation. So doesn't implementing the UCC rapidly without like proper consultation and proper awareness and education violate the Article 25 and impose a form of legal dictatorship, even though most countries, including India, are democracies?
Violation of which article?
Article 25, I think Pranad mentioned it in his speech as well.
Hmm. Yes.
Okay.
Would you like me to type it out?
Anushka, do
Yes,
you want?
please. Yes, please. Yeah, sorry. Yes, please. The last part especially, I could not get it. We are
Just give
while.
me a minute. Just give me a minute.
Yeah. You said violating the Article 25, right? Article 20.
I have typed it out. Do you see it?
Yes, I can see it. Okay, so I'll answer to this. I would say no, because if a uniform civil code, even if implemented swiftly, it will not violate Article 25, provided it is a based on secular gender equality principles and applies equally to all citizens. That said, I actually fully agree that the process of implementation matters, but let's separate two concerns here. There are these two concerns. One is the principle of UCC, which is rooted in the Constitution, and the process, which must be democratic, inclusive, and transparent. So, UCC is a constitutional goal, not a dictatorship, which was mentioned by Pranad once. Article 44 of the Constitution clearly states that India must move forward toward a UCC, and enacting constitutional promises is not authoritarianism, it's constitutional governance. A democratically elected parliament passing the UCC after debate is not imposition, it's implementation. Okay, then awareness and educational is also very crucial, but not just a prerequisite to justice. Waiting for every citizen to fully understand every aspect of law is idealistic, but not unrealistic. We didn't delay the abolition of sati or the introduction of Hindu code bills until full public consensus. Instead, public awareness can and should follow legal reform through campaigns, civic education, and outreach through different initiatives. So, democracy doesn't mean palaces. Democracy also means protecting minorities within minorities, like women, orphans, and LGBTQ plus individuals within religious group. If a practice violates equality or dignity, it must be reformed, no matter how slowly or quickly it is.
Okay.
I have
What?
a follow-up.
Sure.
Yes.
So basically, you mentioned Article 44, and the Article 44 is DPSP, and the gradual implementation of Article 44 risks like leaving like it risks leaving like personal laws and like things that are discriminatory or outdated. So does it like does Article 44 actually support your side for rapid implementation?
Good question. And also, it is fine if you're not able to answer the question, you can do it via chat and take time.
So what does what does the Article 44 of the Indian Constitution says? It states that the state shall endeavor to secure for the citizens a uniform civil code throughout the territory of India. Now, you said that does Article 44 support the UCC even if gradual implementation risks the, discrimination to personal laws? So, no. Basically, Article 44 is a directive principle. It sets a goal for the state. It reflects the founders' intent that India should eventually replace religious-based personal laws with a single secular, equal civil code, so that discrimination does not happen and people do not state that, oh my God, this is the religious thing that we are supposed to do, but this do violates the equal rights. So this should not happen. Therefore, Article 44, it just reflects on the founder's intent that India should eventually replace this. This was seen as essential to building a modern, unified nation based on equal citizenship. Okay. Then, gradualism versus justice. So, you'll point out that gradual implementation can prolong discrimination. That's absolutely correct. But women still face unequal inheritance, marriages, and divorce rights under some personal laws. Like, if that religion states that you cannot get this, you cannot get that, how are we supposed to protect our equal rights? How are we supposed to protect their basic human rights? Some customs, agreed, still deny widows land rights or allow polygamy. It's still happening around the India. It's still happening in some villages. So Article 44 supports moving past these injustice and these situations, not preserving them under the excuse of cultural diversity. No, some things are just has to be equal. Constitutional right, constitutional harmony, basically. Article 25, religious freedom, and Article 44, UCC, must be read through together. Okay, it is not considered as separate. Okay, personal laws are not above the constitution. If a personal law violates equality or dignity, reform must prevail.
All right.
Even, yes, done.
Okay. You the what? Jayant, is this your question? Okay. Jayant.
So, yeah,
Yes,
it's
Jayant.
my turn to ask a question.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. So, as Anushka stated that Goa is a successful model of UCC, but under the Goan Civil Code, Hindu men are still allowed big uh, bigamy under certain conditions, and Catholic marriages are governed by canon laws. So, how exactly is this a true uniform civil code? And to more elaborate it, Goa follows a Portuguese civil code, 1867, which is not a uniform civil code drafted by India. And Catholic marriages are regulated under canon laws, and annulments are decided by church authorities, not civil courts. So, how could you say that Goa is a successful example of civil code, the implementation of civil code?
Okay. Um, you're right. Goa's civil code is not perfectly uniform in every respect. There are indeed exceptions. Hindu men can remarry under certain conditions, and Catholic marriages are partially governed by canon law. But here's the key point. Goa is still the only Indian state where all communities, regardless of religion, are governed by a single civil code for most personal matters, marriage, divorce, succession, and what else? Guardianship? Yes, adoption, guardianship. The remaining exceptions are precisely why India needs a national UCC to eliminate these loopholes and move toward a fully secular, gender equal, regal state. So, these are some loopholes that are there that we have to overcome these and we have to fill these so that we, the India, are fully secular, gender equal, and legal system. That's how I would say.
Point of order.
Yes.
So, as she said that it is a successful example of uniform civil code. Am I wrong,
You're not wrong,
Anushka?
but this is a subjective opinion, I believe. If she thinks that
Yeah,
But
it
even
is,
even the Law Commission of India in 2018 concluded that Goa's law cannot be considered a model uniform civil code due to these contradictions. Like human men in Goa can remarry without divorce if the
yeah,
first wife does not bear children by the age of
okay,
25. And she said that uh, Catholic marriages are partially governed by canon laws. They are not partially; they are fully governed by canon laws.
all right. So I believe there is some contradiction in the statement, but there was one line that she said that Goa may not be a successful example, but it is something which proves that UCC is important. So I believe she tried to make
But
a point subjective, but well, she still had some contradictions. But well, your point of order is taken. It's correct. Good.
yeah, it's correct. In consideration. But as we see, there is UCC is not applied anywhere else except Uttarakhand, that Sir said in the beginning of the debate. Goa is the only still most successful in its region because, as you see, the law has been already implemented, and still Goa is actually the only state that is following this UCC, and which is actually going great so far. They are actually, getting into that UCC code. So that was what I meant by the successful state. And I completely agree that it's not perfectly uniform in every respect, but still, it's the most successful state that has the UCC implemented in it. So yeah,
All
that's
right.
what I wanted to say.
Not specifically UCC, but uniform code, if that's
Yeah.
okay.
Then a
Niyati?
slight objection.
Hmm.
So basically, when she was answering Pranad's question as well as my question, she said that it would be better to not have rapid implementation and rather take it slow and steady, which like goes against her own stance.
But that is something we cannot have it as a point of order. It is up to her how
Yeah, I
she
just wanted to
frames
point
her.
it out.
But the agenda is regarding
Yeah,
but
implementing it
as
immediately.
India is a democratic country, so you cannot implement anything in just a night. It requires
Yeah,
five to
yes,
10
exactly.
years.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. That's what
So
I wanted to. I just wanted to point it out. No, like grudges or whatever you want to call it.
this uniform civil, the motion that I've given can be linked to situations when the political sphere, the social sphere of India is in very situation where uniform civil code is very much necessary. If you could have cited situation that your points would have been way better linked. All right. So let's just ask questions to Pranath. We have 10 minutes remaining. I want you all to write all of the questions in the chat so that at least he has uh, all the questions. You don't have to speak again and again. All right. So first, Anushka, you can go ahead. Anushka.
Yes. Sorry for the interruption. I'm having some network issues. Um, yes. So you claim that UCC threatens religious freedom, but isn't freedom from discrimination also fundamental right? And yeah, and if Goa has, still not successfully, but still implemented a uniform civil code with communal harmony, why can't the rest of India do the same?
Okay, Pranath.
What was your first part of the question?
Okay. Yeah, I'll just type it out, Just give me 1 minute.
Aren't you guys hungry?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Okay, first of all, her question was I claim that UCC threatens religious freedom, but isn't freedom from discrimination also a fundamental right? Okay, so exactly my point. There are already Article 25 freedom of religion and Article 26 freedom of manage religious affairs, which are both are enforceable. So I clearly stand that UCC should not be implemented immediately right now at this stage because there are already various rights of which protects religious discrimination. And secondly, for a question regarding Goa, right? Actually, Goa UCC isn't uniform at all. For instance, Hindu men are also allowed to remarry without divorce if the wife doesn't bear children by the age of 25. Goa family law rooted in Portuguese civil code. That's not equality. That's gender discrimination, and it is legally sanctioned. Thank you.
Okay. Next we have Jayant. Mr. Jayant.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
I also stated the question, it's the same question almost, that why should there be different laws for
Then you
citizens of the
should
same?
had asked this question in a follow-up.
I typed it in the chat box.
No, like two questions in one question.
Yeah, it's the same basically. It's just two questions. Yeah.
Okay. Since Jayant is not responding,
So,
can go ahead. Acha, Jayant is back. We will
are we
skip it at the end
having,
now.
we are not having time to ask Pranad question,
Yeah,
but we have to ask
we
him.
have 5 minutes. Jayant and Niyati can still ask.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely. Go ahead.
Jayant, you have your question ready?
I would like Niyati to go first.
Okay,
Yes,
Niyati.
just give me a minute. I'll type it out. Let me see. Alright. So, isn't putting off the UCC just political hesitation, which shows like a lack of real commitment to justice and constitutional values, especially when the Law Commission, the Supreme Court, as well as the Constitution framers have all been debating upon this idea for decades.
Could you please rephrase your question in more understandable manner? I clearly didn't understand your question.
So basically, I'm asking, isn't putting off UCC showing political hesitation and a lack of real commitment towards justice and constitutional values, even though major like bodies such as the Supreme Court, the Law Commission, and the Constitution's framers themselves have supported this idea for like a very, very long time.
Okay, first of all, UCC should not be implemented immediately. It was stated by just a sec. Where was it in my speech? Yeah, it was clearly stated by the 21st Law of Commission of India. And yes, the same institution that advises Parliament clearly said in 2018, and I quote, UCC is neither necessary nor desirable at this stage. And secondly, India is not lacking in political justice because there are various legal acts. For example, Triple Talaq was abolished through the Muslim Women Protection of Rights on Marriage Act 2019 without UCC. Secondly, Hindu Succession Act 2005 amendment gave daughters equal rights in ancestral property. Then let's move towards Domestic Violence Act 2005, which protects all women regardless of religion. There are various other laws in this which protects humans, which protect the people of India, everyone without UCC. Thank you.
Follow up.
I'm also having a
Can we
follow-up for
skip the
this.
follow-up from Niyati to
Mine's
start with
really,
Jayant?
really short. It's like one line, very short.
Okay, just do it fast.
Basically, how long should you wait for reforms, especially when many personal laws, especially like, they deny women their equal rights? And should justice actually like depend upon how fast or slow a community like chooses to change their laws and their ideals?
Could you please again repeat? I didn't had like my internet connection. Your voice was cracking. Hello, am I audible
All
right
right,
now?
I will
Hello?
probably speak slower, would be better. How
Yeah,
long
sorry,
should you
what?
wait? How long should you wait for internal reforms within communities when like many personal laws still deny women equal rights? And should justice actually depend upon how fast or slow a community like chooses to change their values and their ideals?
So basically, what I get is that due to
There
orthodoxy
are
and
two questions,
traditions,
right?
there is one question, but it is linked with an example. So, due to orthodoxy, Pranad, you are saying that we need the religions to reform themselves first, but that would take a lot of time, and the discrimination would still prevail. So that is the question. And how much time should we wait for the reforms to come up?
Okay, yeah. Discrimination in personal laws must be reformed, but through community consultation. Also with Muslim women's activists like the Shariara Bano challenged triple talaq, as I mentioned earlier in my previous answer, and succeeded through judicial legislative reforms, not UCC. SC in Shariara Bano, we Union of India 2017 struck down triple talaq without UCC. So clearly UCC isn't needed right now. And yes,
Okay, Jayant.
and yes, and the Constitution itself promotes diversity within unity. Article 371A to 371. And schedules fifth and sixth protect tribal and
All right,
culture
all right, all right.
reforms. So
Thank
there are
you,
still
Pranad.
laws. Yep.
Thank
Sorry. Okay.
you, Jayant.
Are we gonna have a new meeting link as it is
I
only
don't
30
think so.
seconds?
This is probably the longest debate in TDT.
No, it is not the longest.
Well, okay.
Yeah,
Wait,
we have
what?
attended the longest.
No,
Jayant,
Jayanti, you were not also in the long. Okay, never mind. Never mind. Back to the debate. Yes,
Jayant, your question. Oh man, the meeting is gonna
I
end.
believe we. I believe we need a new meeting link.
Man, I am going to eat my